What's going on, everybody? C4 here. Welcome back to the channel as we continue with our 32-team 7-round mock draft series. We are now here with the team that holds the 27th pick in the first round, and that is the Seattle Seahawks. Always the toughest mock draft for me to do when you get to these videos because every year I'm like, hey, maybe this is the year they finally invest in the offensive line, and then I don't know where they draft like a 4th-round graded player in the first round, and then we're like, okay. Sure, why not? So they've definitely been the wild card team in the first round. I think along with maybe like the Steelers, even though the Steelers don't have a first round pick this year, of like that. Oh, they're just gonna not go by the consensus anywhere and kind of come out of blue. It was like that with the Rashad Penny pick. It was like that with the LJ Collier pick last year. But we're gonna try to be a little bit more traditional as we get through the 7 rounds here for Seattle. But before we do that, through the power of Madden 20, look at the moves they made in free agency to kind of find out where the roster is at before the mock draft. So flipping to the offense, things remain pretty much the same. They got Philip Dorsett, who did splash a little bit with the New England Patriots. Compliments Lockett. Still can't believe you guys got DK Metcalf when you did. I had him as the first best wide receiver in the draft. I'm so upset about that. If you follow me on Twitter, you know how I feel about DK Metcalf being on the wrong bird team. For the rest of the offense, it just seems like rather than draft linemen, they just keep getting busts, like guys that have been drafted in the first round. They got a Fetty, they got Cedric Abuye, Fluker was a first round pick, Pochich was a highly regarded pick. Just trying to see what works. Offensive line is still not that great. Strong running, they're definitely they're not as bad as they once were. I mean, obviously Brown, Fluker's kind of had a little bit of resurgence. Britt has been a solid center. But you need a right tackle. You need a guard, most likely. They got the veteran Greg Olsen, which, I mean, if he stays healthy, still definitely can contribute. You pair that with Will Dissly, who, when he has been healthy, has also looked pretty good. Hopefully, if the tight end room stays healthy for the Seattle Seahawks, it's definitely going to be a strength of this offense. Flipping to the defensive side, they need edge rushing help. So we'll save that for last. Outside of that, the linebacking core, solid. You're getting a little bit older, a little bit long in the tooth, but Bobby Wagner's still really good. Burke Curvin looks like he could eventually be the success for right. Cody Barton got some pretty nice reps last year. They brought back Bruce Irvin as like a rush linebacker. At the safety core, you got Diggs for pennies on the dollar from the Detroit Lions. That was great value. McDougal is solid. Tedrick Thompson, Marquise Blair, all these guys. There's a lot of dudes. Might not have the elite name value at safety. You might not be the Legion of Boom caliber safeties, but these guys are solid. They're not a weakness of this squad. You can also throw in Amagi as well. He can play nickel or free safety. Secondary, not bad either. Griffin's solid. Trey Flowers is solid, but definitely could look to add more depth to the secondary at that cornerback spot. I actually don't think I do have them taking a corner fairly early in the mock draft, which you'll see. But the biggest issue here for the Seattle Seahawks is just the defensive line. Even with Jadeveon Clowney, Ziggy Ansah last year, they struggled getting pressure. They re-signed Jarran Reed, which I thought that's well worth it. Didn't really play nearly as good last year as he did 2 years ago, but the potential is still there. Collier, I don't know if they're expecting him to take the big leap. It is what it is. Poona Ford, solid run defender. They got Mayowa coming from the Raiders, I think, but you need edge rushing help. I don't know if they're going to re-sign Jadeveon Clowney. Either way, I'm going to help them. Don't you worry. I'm going to get them a D tackle and a defensive end in this mock draft. Spoiler alert, they'll be able to contribute right away. Maybe less so if they do find a way to bring back Clowney, but looking at the roster right now, I'm going to help you guys. Let me help you get after that quarterback. So without further ado, for the Seattle Seahawks, let's get into that 7-round mock draft. And if it's good and you like it, can you trade me DK Metcalf to the Philadelphia Eagles, please? So we are now here at pick 27 in the first round, and we have the Seattle Seahawks, who have known to be outside-the-box thinkers, if we had to put it not negatively, for how they've approached the last couple drafts for their first round. I mean, Rashad Penny was a surprise pick. LJ Collier was a surprise pick. Not a surprise pick here. I'm shocked this guy was still here, but it was just the nature of the beast for my mock draft. At pick 27, he probably should go pick 7, but he was still at 27. I was like Javon Kinlaw, defensive tackle from South Carolina, 6'5", 320. He's currently my number 1 defensive tackle. I mean, I don't want to get hipster on him because, Derek Brown from Auburn has been consensus. I just feel like the upside on Kinlaw is too obvious to ignore. And I'll be shocked if he's still here at 27, but for the sake of the mock draft, we still have him here. It's insane value, the value of the first round. The upside and ceiling, what gives him an edge for me over a sure thing like Derek Brown. Derek Brown is going to be a good player, but he might plateau as a really good run stuffer. The difference between Javon Kinlaw is Javon Kinlaw comes in not as pro-ready, not as refined as Derek Brown, doesn't have as high of a floor, but his ceiling is sky high. Javon Kinlaw is getting comped to, Chris Jones of the Kansas City Chiefs. He's getting comped to, like, the next kind of Michael Bennett hybrid. He's not, not so much this body type. He's way bigger than Michael Bennett. Where Michael Bennett was able to succeed inside and outside. Very well did that for the Seattle Seahawks. That's the kind of versatility and outside that Kinlaw brings. I think his excellent length that he can generate pressure from the inside consistently, which is really the most pressing need for Seattle. With or without restarting Jadeveon Clowney, which is still up in the air, they need to find ways to get after the quarterback. And then getting Kinlaw from the inside, you pair that with Jarran Reed. That's a lot of guys. That's a lot of talent. I think they will complement each other on the inside. But I'll be shocked if he's still there at 27. But again, Kinlaw not as pro ready. He might take a little bit of a fall. And hey, maybe Seattle trades up for him. Going to the second round. At pick 59, I was selecting Lucas Niang, offensive tackle from TCU, 6'6", 315. A massive tackle. I think would be a day one starter at right tackle for Seattle. Great pass protection. I think offers a high floor, modest to high ceiling in terms of development and being able to compete and play at an NFL starting level at offensive tackle. I think he has some really, really good tape. He shut down a lot of speed rushers, which is usually when a big guy like that, they do well against college-level edge rushers. They do well against guys that might go to the next level that rely on their power moves. But I thought he was pretty well-versed when he had to go up against power rushers and finesse rushers, which gives me, I don't know where the consensus has Niang. I think he's more so a third-round pick. But I think in the second round for Seattle, you got to start paying some respect and paying some dues here on the offensive line to protect your quarterback, protect the franchise in Russell Wilson. Niang at right tackle, maybe getting day one starter ability. You got to pull the trigger. They have another second round pick at 64, and this actually has been a pick that I've been kind of thinking, if Seattle's going to make their surprise, pick in the first round, this could be their first round pick, but for my mockies here in the second round at 64, Jabari Zuniga, defensive end from Florida, 6'3", 265. Great run defender, was really good, really dominant, setting an edge and stuff on the run for Florida. But he was the most athletic edge rusher at the combine, running 4.64, was top percentile for a lot of the explosive drills. A better prospect than, say, LJ Collier. I like Zuniga in the second round. I like Zuniga in any round over LJ Collier in any round. He could have been a first rounder if not for an injury in 2019. He was on pace. He started very, very hot. He was on pace to probably 8-9 sacks, first team SEC, somewhere in that range. So I do think if he would have put together a full season from the limited games we saw in Florida, he could have been a first-round selection this year. He's a beast with pass rush upside, and getting pressure is Seattle's biggest need. Again, you get Kinlaw, you find a way to get Zuniga. I think your pass rushing issues get a little bit resolved. Going to the third round at pick 101, I'm selecting Michael Ojemudia, corner from Iowa, 6 feet tall, 200 pounds. You pretty much look at any scouting report on Ojemudia, they're just saying, wow, he is such a perfect fit for the Seattle Seahawks. I agree. Man cover corner. Coming out the back-to-back 3 interception seasons for Iowa. Tested well at the combine, running a 4.45 in the 40-yard dash. And will likely be corner 4 on Seattle's depth chart. You got Flowers. You got the Griffin brother. You got one of him. And they made a trade to get Dunbar from the Washington Redskins. So I think I got Ojemudia in the third round. Scheme fits that corner 4. Add some top-tier depth. Can't do a lot worse than that in the third round. Going to the fourth round at pick 133, I'm actually really loving this draft. I was letting Tyler Johnson, wide receiver from Minnesota, 6'1", 205, back-to-back first-team Big Tens. In the last 2 years, over 75 catches, over 1,000 yards, and over 10 touchdowns in all those years. He presents great value, and he slips due to I think the depth of the draft class. I think if this was any other year where the wide receivers weren't stacked, maybe not next year, because I think next year's wide receiver class is almost, if not equal to, if not maybe slightly better than this year's wide receiver class. But this was the wide receiver class over the last 2-3 years. I think Tyler Johnson could be in a second or third rounder. He's the best used in the slot, but I think he can contribute on the outside. And when you're looking at that wide receiver core, they're still trying to find their ensemble, right? They took a flyer on Josh Gordon. They've been using and getting rid of some of their mid-round picks like Greg. What was his name? Not Greg Jennings, but the guy they had West Virginia. They drafted a guy, a wide receiver to West Virginia last year, Jennings, and they got rid of him. Like they're just trying to find the right fits. So I think burning a fourth-round pick on a guy like Tyler Johnson, which is solid value, he might be able to emerge as a slot, especially if you want to flex Tyler Lockett a little bit more on the outside, a little less inside responsibilities. A guy like Johnson can take that role. Staying actually in the 4th round, at pick 144, I'm selecting John Simpson, guard from Clemson, 6'4", 325 pounds, big time mauler. Very powerful, 34 reps on the bench press, 2019 All-American with day one starter potential for Seattle at that left guard spot. Right now they have Ethan Posich, who was a center pick out of LSU a couple years ago. He's projected to be their inside guard. I think John Simpson, another guy I've seen mocked as early as the 2nd round, still here in the 4th. I think it's great value if Seattle finally decides to invest draft capital in pressing Russell Wilson. You get John Simpson in the 4th round, you get Niang in the 2nd round, 2 guys that will be able to come in, might not outright win the job, but could very well win start. They get 2 starters on cheap rookie contracts. That's all. When was the last time Seattle got multiple starters? That's why they were so good. The Legion of Boom era, they were consistently getting 2-3 starters every single draft. Feels like that's kind of dried up over the last couple years. Get back to that with this mock so far, which has been outstanding, obviously, in my very biased opinion. In the division of the draft, in the 6th round to pick 214, I was letting Daniel Thomas, safety from Auburn, 5'10", 215, very athletic safety that tested well at the combine, 4.51, 24 reps on the bench press, was pretty much like an A-tier safety in comparison to the group, in comparison to the whole. And he adds some speed to the Seattle safety core that's not really that fast. They're not overly athletic between McDonald. They got Jugal Amadi, Quandre Diggs, Marquise Baird, Delano Hill. Not A-tier athletes like Daniel Thomas is. So it does complement what they already have. And again, you're going to be getting good special teams ability, which is almost a prerequisite in the 6th and 7th rounds. So there you go, guys. That is my 7th-round mock draft for the Seattle Seahawks. Obviously, very surprising having Kinlaw still there at 27, but he was there when I did the mock draft. I'm not going to ignore that. I think for the first, really, 5 rounds, every pick aside the 6th-round flyer, which I was just trying to find a guy that could tack on and contribute on special teams. This might be one of the best mock drafts in terms of talent when all is said and done that we have done. So I hope you guys, especially if you're a Seahawks fan, did enjoy it. That does it for me today, guys. Thank you for watching. As always, your first time stopping by, don't be afraid to hit that subscribe button, smash the like button if you enjoyed. And until next time, it's C4 saying peace out.